Brother, Muslims celebrate holidays.
Oh, no.
So what does a Muslim do during so-called Thanksgiving?
I don't know. Our mosque had a fall festival, like a little kind of gathering or get together, little finger foods and bouncy houses for the kids, but it wasn't like a typical like Thanksgiving, like turkey and dressing type, gathering like how we used to over here in the West. So they kind of separated the observance from the Western holiday, essentially.
So, right after Thanksgiving, so-called Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving,
Thanks taking.
Thanksgiving, you got so-called Christmas, the birth of the Christ. And we like to give gifts out, and the fat man come down the chimney, and this, that, and the third.
Hey man, I ain't got no chimney.
Is it any gift giving going on in the Muslim culture during so-called Christmas?
You want to take the power back from that one too? I mean, it really isn't such thing as a Muslim Christmas. Like nothing against those that celebrate it. Like, please, do you and enjoy your religion, but get the crib.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Probably drink some hot chocolate, reading a book, looking at a lecture online like any other day.
Okay, all right, we'll be here waiting on you.
So, is it out of the ordinary for like a Muslim who has kids to kind of like assimilate their kids into the Western culture?
Okay.
Like, you know how I don't want my kids to feel alienated on Christmas because their friends got the Barbie dolls and Tonka trucks. Do you think that's against the culture? If you're a real Muslim or a real Sufi to say, I'm going to buy a little Jabari or a Tonka truck because his friend Jason has a Tonka truck.
The answers might be different between a Muslim and a Sufi, but I think either or both are still going to distance whatever they're observing from that particular holiday itself. And if they're going to give them kids any gifts, it's going to be like a couple of days before and or after that holiday, like never really on that same day. No decorations with the same colors or themes or anything like that. So kind of the same. Like now, technically, still wouldn't celebrate the holiday per se, but some kids kind of do. Sometimes they get compensated because you think about it, they grew up in a culture like that that's kind of completely alien from like Western society, how we view this time of year. But they see all their classmates at school, all of them, like getting all happy and talking about what they finna get for Christmas. And the Muslim kid finna come back home, come December 25th, they ain't get nothing but breakfast in the morning. So I mean, there's a little give and take here and there, but before there's any give and take, first off, there's a complete separation from the holiday. Like the day of any thoughts of decorations of spending money on the glitz and the bunch of presents and stuff that may not even get touched, or that might not get played with.
So Muslims don't have Christmas trees.
Stop it. Nah. No, I don't think I've never been in no mosque that had no Christmas tree in it. No. Nope.
It sparked the thought though, brother. I guess you want to say in the Bible text, Christmas what symbolizes the birth of Jesus or the Christ. Yeah. Did Prophet Muhammad have any kids?
Yeah.
So it's not the same type of holiday on the birth of the Prophet Muhammad's baby.
No, they wouldn't celebrate the birth of the son of, like some groups in order will celebrate the birth of the Prophet Muhammad, but it's on a lunar calendar, so it floats throughout the year. It changes comparative to the solar calendar. Part of the reason why most of them don't get along. Solar calendar versus lunar calendar battle. They're two different opposite sides trying to figure out why my system won't work for you over here and vice versa. Ain't supposed to.
So, in the Muslim culture, in the Muslim faith, and the people who follow Islam, are there any holidays? Period.
Hey, what's that, brother?
I think they wouldn't really call it a holiday.
Well, I wouldn't say a so-called holiday, but is it anything equivalent?
It's an observance, I guess. They try to be HR appropriate with the choice and use of words. Like Ramadan is an observance, it's a yearly observance. Like something happens that's observed throughout the entire lunar cycle or that entire month. There may be things to do throughout that observance, but like it's not really a celebration. More so like a revival, like to use the church term back in the day, like a renewal and a cleansing of before going off into the new year. But hell, the Egyptians fasted too.
True indeed. So, let me ask you this also. What does Brother Bilal do around his immediate family on December 25th?
Keep reciting mantras in his mind silently so it's not awkward. Some habits don't die at all. They say some old habits die young, but some don't quite get it. So I'll show up, but I'll make sure to show up late. Y'all done already opened all the gifts and stuff, let the kids have their fun and see what they got. Just enough time for the food to start to cool down. I warm my plate up. So the festivity is about over. And clean it up and everything. I'll show up then, but to be a part of the whole thing, no, not so much. But it's awkward. Like, think about it on the flip side, like, I need to get one of them to come to the mosque with me for 28 and a half days so we can make prayer 5 times a day. And then stay for that one last one that take like an hour and a half to complete. They be like, man, shoot, no. I'm not gonna do all of that. So you won't come to the mosque and pray with me, which really ain't doing nothing but yoga, right? Postures and bending and popping and cracking. But you want me to participate in this. All right, bet. No. Because that's family, right? You still have to find ways around it. Don't really celebrate it. Don't even really observe it. Just show up because there's a whole bunch of your kin folks at grandma's house.
True indeed. Just to even kick it from another angle, right? Do you think like the celebration of Christmas? Do you think that's a bad thing in the Western world? Just not the birth of the so-called Christ or the so-called Jesus, but just the overall theme of Christmas. Do you think that's something bad?
It can be, depending on where it's looked at. Financially, it sucks for us. Like, those black people being like the biggest spenders, right? But if we're the biggest spenders, then that should also mean we should have the most money. Yeah. Right, to use to build ourselves up in society and community around us, but we don't, because at that time of the year we try to go spend my bread on the biggest turkey, pounds and pounds of collard greens and dressing and stuff to sit and overeat for one day. Right. I'm gonna go fast for 3 days after I get done. First off, but then to allow that to spill over into the next month during the last holiday, trying to sneak ahead and buy gifts for everybody close to you in the family that's gonna be at grandma's house on this one day. Now you gotta make sure you ain't leaving nobody out because that's wrong. Jesus wouldn't like that. But how much money did you just spend?
When it did.
Yeah. On like somewhat frivolous and immaterial things, like heavy food that I wasn't meant to put inside of this body anyway, and a whole bunch of it. Alright. A whole bunch of gifts and gift wrap and a whole bunch of knick-knack for some people for one day of the year that you probably won't talk to again until the next holiday. Right.
Cause I just like to have that open dialogue with people. Is it any gift giving days in the culture of Islam?
I mean, they can be, but they're not really special, I guess. Like, they're not amped up so much to where now it's like a whole like national, or like world known holiday to where now it's a big spending spree wrapped around it. Like, it's really meant for like community building. Like, we just had International Day right before Halloween, like literally the 30th. So Halloween was on the 31st, but we had International Day on the 30th, which was like a fall festival. So since it's a whole bunch of different ethnicities that go to the mosque, everybody had a booth set up with stuff about their country and food that you can kind of taste see from each, and art and carving and stuff like that. But was it Halloween? Was that dressed up costume? No, it was close to that same time of year, yeah, but it was it was something else, something completely different. It was only the third one that this particular mosque had done, so it's just us. No, wasn't it big enough to be a monetized holiday that where people that we ain't never gonna see gonna make more money than we spent on it in the first place. Because it all stayed within the community. Them folks cook and prep that food that they know how to make from their countries. Like, other folks in the same area spent money with them same folks. At that point, it didn't matter whether it was a Pakistani buying some food from a Nigerian, it was a Muslim buying another food from another Muslim. And to see that Muslim dollar sit there and move back and forth, see where I'm going with this, right? To sit there and see that Muslim dollar bounce back and forth between all them hands and watch everybody get built up with it. I'm just sitting here like, damn, it really is this easy. What's wrong with niggas?
We'll take it in another lane, right? How long did it take Brother Bilal to break Brother T's habit from the celebration of so-called Christmas?
Probably about like a good 2 years. 2 years or so. Right at about 3 to finally get numb to it, the way even if I do show up, just kind of like, whatever.
So we can agree that takes some strong discipline.
Oh yeah.
Because I can see how people play with Islam and still celebrate Christmas being sneaky and trying to say that my girlfriend or my wife or the new Fatima,
haram, bad, evil.
Fatima's her friend Lakeisha, she got a car on December 25th. So with Brother Bilal by Khadijah a car on December 25th because Lakeisha's husband got a car on December 25th.
Funny thing is, though, God, I wasn't even buying Christmas gifts before I was a Muslim. It was just something about it. I don't think I've ever really bought one for anybody.
True indeed.
I'll show up. But nah.
So you could say that a way to strengthen your mind during that time and to break yourself, you go into fasting a little bit more during that time, or reading a little bit more, meditating a little bit more during that time to kind of break yourself from that.
Ain't that Elijah taught us to fast in December, right?
True indeed.
Still use that as a sign too. Yeah, fast in December, amp up your cultural and spiritual practices during that time frame to give yourself something a little bit more spiritually pragmatic for you that can do things than get so caught up in all of that, right?
True indeed.
Fast and separate from all those other things, then you'll realize like you'll have an experience. We can't really describe it too much, but fast and pray fervently and watch what happens. Like say in the Bible about Jesus, the effectual and fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Gotta live that life and walk and talk to be anywhere near close to somebody calling you a righteous man. So your fervent prayer actually makes something happen within your life after taking it seriously and spiritual and not material and commercial. Right?
You know what? That sprung up another thought. People always say during this time of this time of year or whatever that people get depressed and the mental health thing during I guess you want to say so-called Christmas. How would you tell somebody to combat that during this time? I guess because it's cold and they don't have the money to buy the Christmas gifts, or they don't have the family to kind of observe during this time and to be with and to congregate with. How would you kind of tell somebody, to get them through? What would you tell somebody to get them through that time on the mental health tip?
Ouch. Yeah, that is a problem within the community. Because mental health as a whole, but around the holidays, that'd be kind of tough, bro. Because it hit us in so many different ways. Because we can get wrapped up in so many different, like, worldly, financial, and material situations. That how to deliver that, or try to deliver that message to one person ain't gonna work with the next 10 or 12 I'm gonna bump into. Yeah, we got our work cut out for it.
Because during this time, I was a couple years ago, I was reading somewhere on how high the crime rate gets in December. And I correlated that to the holidays, or the so-called holidays, and people want to make sure that they get little Eddie or whatever he needs from Toys R Us and this, that, and the third. And so do you have a small anecdote to help a brother when hey man, you just couldn't get little Eddie that Tonka truck, you couldn't buy little Susie that Barbie doll.
Yeah, just take a shahada to become Muslim, then you don't celebrate holidays. You ain't gotta buy no gifts no more. End of story. Nah, you can't. Nah, you don't have to. You don't have to at all. 2,000 years ago on December 25th, what was your ancestors doing? They opening up gifts up under a doggone tree 2,000 years ago somewhere in Africa?
I highly doubt that.
I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it.
It's warm in Africa anyway in December.
Right.
So I don't think the fat man gonna be coming through the chimney. And what's their name? Prancer and Dancer and what's the other one? Rudolph.
Man, ain't no telling where in the world from them Celtics and Druids did that story come from, and now some of us actually believed it. Wasted brain cells thinking that it was a big dude in a red suit right around on a magic sleigh getting pulled by 8 damn deer.
No, what's that name though? Comet and Cupid and
nobody singing that damn
Prancer
song.
Hold up. Well, I go, it's Prancer and Dancer.
See what you're trying to do? Trying to get the Muslim to sing the Christmas song.
So still on the mental health tip, this don't necessarily pertain to the so-called Christmas holiday, but how would you help somebody get through the cold in the winter months? What you think they need to do? More praying, more meditating, more mantras, or do they need to do a lot more not gift giving, but more giving at this time?
Okay, good.
We in the South, the majority of them teachers you can probably pull from them same folk book. If they're confused about it, then use a little bit of it to make it make a little bit more sense, but make it pragmatic for the people. Like, you might not have anybody to celebrate this time of the year with, but you a bomb ass cook, right? You ain't got no kinfolk around you, but you stay about a mile away from a homeless shelter, but you a bomb ass cook, right? Cook up some food, right? Take it down there to the homeless shelter. and go out there and watch some folks smile on that day that probably wasn't gonna ever get a chance to smile on that day, right? You know, did you go get anything from anybody that you can now go unwrap and put in your closet and hang up? Nope. But you got something from them people that money can't buy. You gave them something that they didn't think they were gonna get. So we can flip the holiday. You can still observe it, but now go do something on it. Don't expect somebody to do something for you.
True indeed. So what you saying is during that time, I guess Brother Bilal can show up in his jolly beard and fully garbed up, and you're not finna eat the turkey, but you feel like since you know we're in the Western world, to make this Westerner feel good, here go 5 turkeys. If this gonna help you to not kill yourself, or this gonna help you to not beat on your wife during this time, or for you not to have low quality of life in your mind, Brother Bilal can show up looking like how you look, and you can give him what he needs to make him feel good. Also with a Quran though too, right?
Of course. Maybe.
So we can agree that goes along with the good deeds.
Yeah, that teaching exists in a lot of doggone schools of thought, but I mean, Senegal, for example, like them Christians and Muslims over there, they all still Senegalese folks, so we ain't even gonna look at them as Christians and Muslims. They just 2 different groups of Senegalese that worship and pray differently. Right. So during the holiday of Group A, that are fasting during that holiday, Group B is preparing food for them, so when these get finished fasting and get ready to eat, it's already ready by the other group. Get what the titles of them groups are. They still Senegalese. They're in the same community. Now, vice versa, when these people have a long service to where now when they get done, they're going to be hungry, but it's all of them in this long service. They can't prepare food. Now, the people in this group are in the kitchen of these people's worship service or worship hall preparing food. So when they get done, see what I'm saying? Christians and Muslims doing the same thing for each other, because forget the fact that they're so-called Christians and Muslims. They're both Senegalese, both from the same community. Yeah.
So on December 25th, when I call you and say, Brother Bilal, I got you something, brother. Would you accept it as a Christmas gift, or would you just accept it from your brother?
Might be petty, man. I'm like, it's only right to accept it. Like only after stating why I usually shouldn't and wouldn't and won't in most cases. But then just hold on to it until January the 2nd on my birthday. I'm open to it then.
So we can't break you. You already know, man. God don't do no. We don't do no Christmas. We don't do none of that Thanksgiving. We don't do none of that. I just wanted to see if you could be broke.
No, man, no.
So, right, since your your mother, right, since she observed Christmas, right, is it wrong for you to give her a gift on Christmas?
Surface level, yeah. Yep. Definitely wrong, especially if I wrap it up and put a bow on it and say, from me to you. I now have participated in somebody else's holiday and observance.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
So you got to be a strong brother to say, I'm not participating in this at all. Like,
right.
I'm not buying you nothing on December 25th and putting it in a white box with a red bow on it. You know what I'm saying? Just because you do that. Because I can see that being still enabling.
Yeah. Otherwise, I just much rather help get food and help cook food and stay in the kitchen sweating all day over the stove and then watch everybody eat and open gifts. Meanwhile, I just help cook food. Y'all don't have to do anything but sit and get drunk or food. Yeah.
So you would say on that day or whatever, you get more gratification being of service to someone else or to your family instead of like being a part of the gift giving.
Might seem like an easy cop out, but I mean, if I'm not gonna celebrate that day, the best thing that I could do to like show them people that I at least still care about them, regardless of their religious beliefs, is to perform some sort of service to them on that day, no matter how big or little. Like, make sure to be there to do something and let it be known and noticed. See the smile, get the hug, get the energy exchange, feel the love. And then enjoy your family and try to keep all of the thoughts and actions like that oriented that way. Never let it be about having to do something in accordance with how the West taught you this holiday had to be celebrated.
Sure, indeed. Let me get a little raw for a minute, though, right? Don't you think, like the story of Christmas, man? Don't you think that's like some nigga shit? You know, to the point that we could say, we had this lady and this man with this baby, and ain't nobody let her get a room at the hotel. Ain't that's kind of weird anyway? Right. Ain't that some? You know, that's why I can see when people say the story of the birth of Christ is, you know, there had to be somebody black.
Yeah, because his daddy wasn't there, right? They don't ever call Joseph his daddy.
Yeah, true indeed. But they made her have the baby outside. No, they ain't want to get a chick a room.
Look, if you read the Islamic story about that one, I put the beads on for that one. Yeah, you read the Islamic story about that one, it makes a little bit more sense because they'll go a little bit more in depth into the reason as to why Mary was shunned when the folks realized that she was pregnant. They was like, bro, like you got brought up better than that in your household. Like, your people is this. Like, your people is this in society, and you show up.
So it is a story in the Quran about that.
Not necessarily in the Quran, but in like Islamic, like literature, hadith, and like, you know, extra bits of history that go along with the story. Yeah. Cause
I'm just saying though, you shunned her during the coldest part of the year or whatever, even though that couldn't have been the coldest part of the year or whatever. But you know, to just go along with the story, ain't that some nigga shit, dog? Ain't that's kind of racist?
Fuck no, man. They gonna leave them outside. Ain't no room in here for y'all. We don't serve y'all kind over here.
Right. You know, cause Mary had to get shunned for nobody to let her in, right?
Mm-hmm. Nobody let her in.
What you think, man? From your wisdom, what you think Mary did for everybody to turn their back on Mary?
Man, she went and got pregnant out of wedlock is what it looked like. She wasn't married in that society. If she was married, them folks would have knew she was married because they would have had a ceremony and celebration. But now you show up knocked up in a society and culture where like there's certain rites you go through, a passage you go through before you even get married, but you knocked up already before you supposedly went through all of them. Instantly shunned, because all this other stuff is also cultural and spiritual that she would have went through leading up to it, but you knocked up now. How you get knocked up? Oh, an angel did it.
Hey, so
come on now, man.
So, you know, the first time I went to a mosque, that was one of the first things I heard. Do you seriously believe that it's a woman that got pregnant and ain't nobody touch her?
Nobody.
So physically, we're not talking about spiritually. We're not even talking in parables or nothing.
Yeah.
Do you? What kind of story is that to teach people that it's a woman that had a baby and ain't nobody touch her?
Hey man, unless they had sperm back 2,000 years ago, bro, I don't know what to say about them. You kind of question stuff nowadays, especially kind of thinking a little more freely. Like, they told me that dude Jonas was in the belly of a whale, but I know there's stomach acid in there.
Yeah, he was
sitting there for too long.
Melted.
Like, yeah, you can disintegrate it, but then they say you got blew out of the whale's nostrils thing on the top of his head, but the stomach of the whale and those nostrils aren't connected anywhere on the inside genetically in that whale at all. They don't work together. They're independent. When they just in digestion, and the other one hasn't been breathing and holding breath. So how can he come from the stomach, which ain't connected to the lungs, that's connected to that spout to get out of the well in the first place?
So if you was looking at the story of Mary and Jesus, it's no such thing as a immaculate conception there now.
The fact that all of us are sitting here right now is proof. An immaculate conception, man. You were born. You came out with no defects. And you come out with no club foot, like nothing was wrong with you. You came out and the doctor observed you and was like, that's what a human being is supposed to look like. Boom. It happened.
Hey, but do you think, right, that they put all that extra on that story? If now, this is not a correct statement, but this is a statement that, been passed around. Jesus' father is God, right? Does that make God a pimp? You think he just hit Mary? I'm just asking.
I don't know. Yeah, most of them will just skate around that one real quick because Allah is a name and title that transcends any masculine and feminine by itself. So not just some Arab God, like your concept of God, Allah transcends masculine and feminine. But if you were to break it down, you would have three pieces: two feminine parts and one masculine part. So Allah is technically more feminine than masculine. So Father Allah, that's some more science simple stuff. When Muslims supposed to say that at all.
So, but I'm saying though, God would have to be a pimp.
Well, it had to be. For those that think that God is some human being looking thing sitting in a chair somewhere up there making stuff happen. Alright.
So that dude who in that nativity scene with Mary, what kind of mind frame did he have to say that my wife got pregnant and I ain't the one that got her pregnant?
I ain't never thought about it like that, bro. Like what was going through Joseph's mind all them years, right? Watching Jesus grow up and he know that. I still ain't hit that yet.
Yeah.
I saw a baby come out of it.
Somebody got her pregnant, and it wasn't me.
You got her pregnant. Now I see why they were chastising her about to kick her out of the town. Because, of course, they knew it wasn't me. That's a good one. You fucked me up.
I'm just saying, though, that takes a certain type of man to say, my wife is pregnant. But I don't get the credit for being the one that impregnated her.
Throughout the whole book, bro.
That made God sound like a pimp, man.
You imagine Jesus praying, "Our Father who art in heaven." Meanwhile, Joseph over there like,
yeah. Joseph had to feel a certain type of way, huh? You see how that story, in conclusion, you see why that story got so many different holes in it. And it's damn near unbelievable. Not the birth of Jesus, but the story of how they saying he came about.
Oh, and the whole thing is everything. Even on the flip side, they would like for us to conveniently forget that Ishmael and Hagar was from Ethiopia, Southern Arabia, on the other side of the Red Sea. So it's a black woman. HGR is the triliteral root for the word black in Arabic. Hagar, black woman. And if Prophet Muhammad came from that lineage, then obviously, like he is of the black and or African race for the most part, because Allah is 2 times more feminine than it is masculine.
Hey man, that was a little raw and uncut. Brother Bilal, you got anything else, man, before I shut it down?
Nah. He hit me with the raw and uncut at the end. But nah, it was a little. We are good to go with that one.
Alright, this is Bilal Heru, reporting live from Homeland Village 2910, Napier Avenue in Macon, Georgia. This was my monthly bill, my brother Bilal. You know, we was just kicking it on the so-called Helladale Christmas. And that's all we got, man. We'll wrap it up, man. Assalamu alaikum to you, my brother.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Peace.
Peace.
I been official, big dog in the yard.